Chris Murray from the Philadelphia Sunday Sun. Andrew, my question is, when you were with the Lakers, you were like pretty much like the second or third option. How will you handle being the first option, and how will you handle being, pretty much the man on this team as opposed to like playing in LA when you're playing with Kobe and all those guys?
Well, I'm looking forward to it because it's like the next step in my career, in my progression as a basketball player. For a little while, they used me as the main option. Definitely in the Denver series, I was getting accustomed to being triple teamed and things like that. So, I got some experience at it, and it's going to be a lot more exciting and a lot more fun to play, knowing that everything's going to be run through you. And I got some great teammates out there. We're a deep team. Looking over the roster, and I just think the sky's the limit for us.
Hello. Hi, Andrew. This is John Mitchell from the Philadelphia Inquirer right here. Can you just talk about the experience you gleaned? You've already got 2 championships. You're just 24 years old. Can you talk about coming here with that championship experience and what your expectations are for this team?
Well, to get there, it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of preparation, and you need everybody on the team to kind of be in gear. With the program, especially the one that Coach Collins is going to lay out for us. And outside of that, it's just work every single day in and day out. And I do bring, that experience with me to this team, and I'm looking forward to getting in the locker room and share that with the rest of the fellas.
It's Saturday, March 23rd, 2013. I'm Kevin McShann, and this is the McShann Sports Beat Report.
Andrew Bynum, we hardly knew.
Yeah, and the Sixers are going to have a real decision to make after the season whether they want to sign him for more years to come or not. The only documented evidence we have of Andrew Bynum wearing a Sixers jersey is from the team's photo day. Beyond that, nada. He has never played a game for them, and he won't this season. Bynum has been officially ruled out for the entire season. He will have season-ending surgery on both knees tomorrow. Can you call it season-ending if the season never really began for him? The Sixers say he and the team came to this decision after, quote, consulting with numerous doctors.
I can only imagine what's racing through his mind right now. Hope we all keep him in prayer. He's not played for us this year, but he's a 76er. And we want him to have successful surgery, and hopefully his career can come back.
The anticipation of both service and production can quickly be foiled if the injury bug rears its ugly head and nips you in the bud, rattling the framework of the best-laid plans, which has a tendency to set back the progression of your franchise for years to come. And unfortunately, for the Philadelphia 76ers, they're experiencing that very scenario with their former All-Star center, Andrew Bynum, as his season is now over and his future in the NBA in doubt because of an unclean bill of health. Philadelphia is now in a precarious position, having to decide if they're ever going to offer Bynum any sort of long-term contract, knowing full well that he hasn't even suited up for the franchise. Bynum's season officially came to an end on March 19th when he underwent arthroscopic knee surgery on both of his knees. He hasn't played this season due to bone bruises in both of his knees. The 25-year-old is an unrestricted free agent at season's end and may never even suit up for the Sixers, depending on what happens later this summer. The procedure was performed by Dr. David Elchick of the Hospital of Special Surgery in New York. It was intended to clean out loose bodies in the knees in an attempt to alleviate both pain and swelling. Bynum was shut down in training camp as a precaution, as the Sixers had originally hoped that he would be prepared to play by Halloween night, October 31st. And Bynum himself, since training camp, has vowed that he would play this season. However, after experiencing discomfort in a 5-on-5 scrimmage late last month, Bynum did acknowledge that a return to the hardwood this season may not be in the cards. Bynum arrived in the city of brotherly love in a 4-team deal with the Los Angeles Lakers, which was expected to make the Sixers a perennial contender in the Eastern Conference. As a part of that 4-team deal, the Sixers also acquired Jason Richardson. However, he was also snake-bitten by the injury bug, being shut down after only 33 games because of knee injuries. Philadelphia also sent Andre Iguodala to the Denver Nuggets and Nick Vucevic to the Orlando Magic. Both players are having solid seasons for their respective clubs. As for Bynum and the Sixers, he is scheduled to earn an estimated $16.5 million without even lifting a finger for the franchise. Without Bynum manning the middle for the Sixers, they've fallen to a pedestrian 26-42 record, 15.5 games behind the Atlantic Division leading New York Knicks, after reaching the Eastern Conference semifinals a year ago, taking the Boston Celtics to the brink of elimination in an epic Game 7 matchup, which eventually ended for the Sixers in bitter defeats. He won 2 NBA titles during his time in Tinseltown with the Lakers. He was coming off his best season in the league prior to the trade, averaging career highs in both points, 18.7, and rebounds, 11.8. He also made his first NBA All-Star game starting for the West. He was the league's 3rd leading rebounder, 20th leading scorer, and he ranked 6th in blocks per game with 1.93. Bynum last made public comments about his injury status to the media on March 1st, when he reiterated that he would not rush himself back to risk his health, his long-term future, and the potential of a massive payday. I think being healthy is more important than anything else, Bynum said. If I'm healthy, I'll get a deal. I need to be able to play, and I need to get to a point with my body where I'm able to play, however long that takes. Ryan Russillo and Mike Hill of ESPN stepped up to the debate desk to look into the crystal ball to see what the future holds for Bynum.
What would you do if you were the Sixers?
Well, I'd probably cry for the rest of the season because you're right. You built your entire season around this
this guy, and I still feel like there were some teams in the Eastern Conference last year, a little bit of fool's gold, with the Celtics really a Game 7 away from getting the NBA Finals. Well, technically, yeah, but is that where they live? And then the Sixers could argue, well, hey, we were a Game 7 with a team that got to the Game 7 with Miami Heat. So now we add maybe the second best center in the league. We're going to be a top 4 seed. Well, the problem with Bynum is he's never been healthy, as we all know.
Right.
And there's a part of you, too, that wonders, what is his actual dedication to the game? And as he sat at the end of the bench with the different hairstyles, it just looks bad. Like, it may not mean anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could get way too carried away with that and start reacting to stuff that doesn't mean anything. But you just feel like there's a part of you that says, can you fake it a little bit more?
Oh, my
God.
Oh, there's the hair.
So,
there's the hair.
Leading up to this whole thing, and the reason I'm building this up, is that I still think you have to try to find a way to re-sign him. And as I'm watching these pictures, I can't believe I'm saying it out loud, but you've invested in him, and it's almost like deciding not to put the shingles on a house because you've already spent money on framing it out. So you can either get the house finished or you can walk away from it. And I feel like because of the assets and the way this league works, the NBA is easily the most difficult league in sports to fix your roster. So when you have an asset like Bynum, even though he doesn't feel like one right now, you have to kind of find a way to protect that asset and see if you can develop something with it a little bit later on. So you might want to give him a 1-year deal. If he says no to that, you can offer him a 5. Other teams can offer him a 4, but I still would stay in the game. I would not, after this news, say, okay, we are done with Bynum if I'm Philadelphia.
By the way, I heard about half of what you said. I was so distracted by the pictures.
We can get the podcast.
I mean, yeah.
Download the podcast.
I like your house analogy right there. I'll use that because I think he has the foundation. He's a 7-footer. You can't teach 7 foot, like you said. He can be a very capable, very good basketball player, second best center in the NBA. But despite the foundation, I just don't think he has what's inside that house right now. He doesn't have the heat. He doesn't have the air conditioning. Meaning, I don't think he has the heart to play the game, to be quite honest with you. And I hate to question anybody's heart, but I've seen it from time to time. When your heart or your attitude is a game time decision, I don't know how much I can trust you, to be quite honest with you. And the physical standpoint, like you said, he has never finished an entire season healthy. The most games he's ever played in a season was 65, and that was 2009-2010 season. He did play in 60 games in the lockout shortened season of 60 the last year with 60 games and the missed 6 games that year. He is a very good center, but once again with the health issues and the knee and whether he wants to play the game.
So you just walk away. If you're Philadelphia, you say, that's it, we're done.
It's hard to just walk away. I got to see where his knee is, first of all. How well is he physically? And then I have questions about whether he really wants to play. We heard about him bowling and things like that. Not saying he can't do things like that, but I've heard Stephen A. Smith talk about him being in a car, being all balled up right after you got knee surgery. How much do you really care about being out on the basketball court and helping your basketball team? It put the Philadelphia 76ers in a bind because they had expectations this year, and the big expectations was because they got this big guy in the middle as their centerpiece, no pun intended there. But now they've lost Andre Iguodala. They lost Lou Williams. And this is a team right now, I think they've lost 14 of their last 16 games. They're last place in the division. They got to make do some soul searching. They got to make some huge decisions this offseason and decide, you know what kind of contract are we going to offer Andrew Bynum? No way in heck do I believe that any general manager in the NBA worth his salt is going to give him a max deal now. Are you thinking about giving him a 4 or 5 year deal? Maybe a 2 or 3 year deal for Andrew Bynum just to see where he is because he's going to command that. And if you're the 76ers and you don't give it to him, some other team that's desperate will give, they're still making contract offers for Greg Oden right now. So some other team out there will give, Andrew Bynum an opportunity to come to their team and possibly give him 2 or 3 year deal.
It's either going to be a 1-year deal or a 4-year deal. Now, Philadelphia can give him 5. Every other team can only give him 4 with the new CBA. But I'd be wondering if he would take a 1-year deal at less money just to see where he's at. And here's the problem. If he signs for a 3 or 4-year deal, what? Go ahead.
Why would he do that? I mean, if he's going to get a multi-year offer from anybody, he's got to go with the multi-year deal, right?
Well, that's what would scare me if I was another team, because if I offered him 3 years and he said yes to 3 years, $30 million, that tells me that he knows he's toast. And then I'd probably want to pull that offer because players have done that in the past. Players have said, yeah, sure, I'll sign that offer, knowing full well they don't have anything left. But you're right. The Greg Oden point's a great one because we are desperate, or at least these guys in this league are desperate for big men. If Okafor can get $72 million,
right.
If Nene can get $60 million, JaVale McGee didn't do anything except make terrible plays, and he got $44 million.
JaVale McGee is a pretty good player. He just has some bone. He's up and down.
Up and down.
He's follies, but at the same time, I think he's a good player.
Okay, but he still got that $44 million before he showed some improvement this year with Denver. So he just got it for being big. So there will be a team that will talk themselves into it if he becomes a free agent and probably offer him that 4-year deal. I just can't imagine it's a max deal, but somebody's going to do it. Somebody will screw this up if they go over and beyond, say, $50 million for Bynum.
But if you were the Sixers in particular, what exactly would you do? You've seen this guy try to rehab for a year. He hasn't played for you at all. You build the whole roster around him. You've seen the antics. What would you do?
I wouldn't give him the 5th year because no other team can do that, okay? Right. So if he comes back to me and says, hey, one of these terrible teams decided to throw me 4 years and $50 million, I go, all right, let us know how much, can you return some sweatshirts, and we'll let you get out of here.
You know who's happiest about all of this, that Andrew Bynum's not playing this season? Dwight Howard. Can you imagine the criticism he would have received? And he's receiving a lot of criticism in L.A.
Right.
But can you imagine the criticism? He would have been run out of L.A. if Andrew Bynum would have gone to Philadelphia and balled out because a lot of Lakers fans did not want to lose Bynum because, for the trade, they didn't think that he was a better center. They thought that Andrew Bynum was a better center than Dwight Howard. So can you imagine what would have happened if that would have happened? So Dwight Howard is probably, smiling right now.
Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, two of the program's mainstays, took some time out to put Bynum's lack of commitment into sharper focus.
I'm so surprised. And let me say that I'm being openly facetious and I'll ask a rhetorical question, meaning this not to be answered, it's just asking a question. Are you convinced now, Skip Bayless? Are you going to listen to when I try to educate you?
I'm going to give a rhetorical answer. No!
You understand? You just don't get it, will you? You'll never learn. Listen, did you hear what Andrew Bynum said? Andrew Bynum, despite his beautiful eloquence, despite the fact that he's an honest kid, he's somebody that's incredibly smart, all right, all of these things need to be said about him. But what did I say? Listen to the words. He said, I never thought. And then he talked about bowling. You know why? Because Andrew Bynum's always thinking. And you know what he's always thinking, Skip? That he knows better than everybody else. That's the problem with Andrew Bynum. Rookie year, let me just break this down to you, all right? Rookie year.
I thought we were talking about bowling.
Let me finish. I'm going to get to that. Rookie year, he missed 36 games. Played all 82 the next year. Next year, he missed 47 games. Another year, he missed 32 games. Then 17. Then 28. And last year, his best season of his career when he averaged 18 and 11, he missed 5 games.
Oh,
what did I say?
5.
That's it, just 5 games. Just 5 games last year. But what did I tell you? And you thought I was being disrespectful when I talked about his penchant for drag racing and all of this other stuff. I'm trying to tell you something about the kid. The same kid that is big and is burly and is really unstoppable when he's on his game, who can play, who I consider to be the second best big man in the game, is the same kid that looked Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the face and said, I know enough. 6-time world champion, 6-time league MVP, NBA Finals MVP, Hall of Famer, all-time leading scorer in NBA history, most unstoppable move in basketball. Andrew Bynum looked him in the face at age 23 and said, I know enough, because he always knows enough, Skip Bayless. He always has the answers. And so when you're going out there bowling, and for those of you who may not know something about bowling, see, a bowling ball is kind of heavy. And understand something right there. It might not be heavy with somebody with these big Goliath hands like Andrew Bynum, but what happens is that the bowling ball that you hold with your finger, with your 3 fingers, okay, and you go down there, I'm surprised he didn't say he hurt his wrist. He actually hurt his knee, but he said this, okay? So you go out there, and you got to walk down that aisle, and then you got to bend down. You got to bend down. You don't stand straight up, Skip Bayless. You got to bend down.
You've never walked down any aisle.
You understand what I'm saying? You're right about that. Yeah. And I don't intend to anytime soon, but here's the deal. What I'm trying to say to you is this. You got to bend down. You got to bowl that ball down the road. And what happens, Skip, is this. It actually requires you to bend your knees a little bit. The very knees that have been hobbling Andrew Bynum. But no, it's not going to have any effect on my knees whatsoever. This is Andrew Bynum. And that's why I told you he wasn't going to be better than Dwight Howard. You know why? Because you actually have to play in order to do that.
Well, that was not your argument. We were talking about in health. He is still the best center in pro basketball.
No, he's not.
On offense and defense, he is the best.
No, he's not.
He was the starter in the All-Star game last year for a reason. Now, let me educate you, because I know all too much about these knee procedures, because I've been through them before. I don't believe that Andrew Bynum hurt his good knee while bowling. I'm sorry, because as he just told you, if you listen carefully, he has been under the supervision of the Sixers squatting. Do you know what squatting means?
Yes.
It means putting weight on your shoulders.
But he didn't tell him he was going bowling.
Okay.
They didn't know he was bowling.
Putting big weight on your shoulders and bending your knees down. That's a lot riskier than bowling is. So I'm not buying bowling because I'm not buying bruised knees. Do you know what a knee bruise is? It has to come from falling down or taking a blow to the knee. Did he actually strike himself, accidentally hit himself with the bowling ball? That's all I can figure out here. I'm not buying this story. What I didn't like about what Andrew Bynum did, he went to Germany for this knee procedure that all the Kobe's are going to get. And I love this procedure. I believe in it. It's about to be made legal in the United States, maybe first of the year. So he won't have to go to Germany. These athletes won't have to go to Germany anymore. But he came home, and all of a sudden the Sixers are making him take cortisone shots in his knees. That would cancel out what you got done in Germany. I don't get it. Does he have arthritic knees, which means it's just decaying? You know, he's losing his cartilage. If he does, Stephen A., then the Sixers made a terrible deal, because I did not know that. When I was saying he's the best center, I didn't know he might have arthritic knee conditions in both knees. It's hard to reverse that. You can't stop it.
Skip, with all due respect, if you would recall, what did I explain to you? I not only talked to you about Dwight Howard being better, I specifically said durability, and I said the ability to run up and down the floor over the course of 82 games. If Andrew Bynum could sit there and take his time and eat Twinkies and call his mama and sit there and have a good time while he's shooting baskets, you'd have me. But the point is, last time I checked, playing the game of basketball requires you to run up and down the court 94 feet for an abundance of games during an NBA regular season between the months of November through April, and then in May and possibly June, you have to be able to deliver the goods. And I specifically said to you, Skip Bayless, before you place your stock in this dude, did you see this guy's history? Do you understand that health-wise, he is not reliable? Your response to me was, I don't care. He'll be
because
fine.
He was great last year. He was perfectly healthy the whole year.
And I said to you, a dead clock is right twice a day. And I said to you, that's one
now
season.
You're trying to defend a Dwight Howard coming off major back surgery.
Right. And I said to you, coming off a major back surgery, he would still be better. Now, Dwight Howard is not healthy. He is not ready. He's not near 100%, averaging 20 and 11 on 60% shooting for the field. And this is a bad year. Hold on. This is a bad year. His worst season before this was 2006, 2007 when he averaged 17. This is his worst. This is a bad year.
He was dunking on Ashik last night. It was
time out.
I was saying, wow, you're back.
It's not about Ashik. It's about the fact that he could dunk it all. It's about the fact that he's running up and down the floor to be fed to dunk. He is on the court. Your boy is not. I tried to tell you. You wouldn't listen.
I'm glad we're getting all this on tape.
That's
so
right.
I can bring it back.
That's right. Bring it back.
In about a month, I'll bring it all back.
I hope you do.
A conditional commitment to the attainment of success in the NBA will not translate into meeting the ultimate expectation of one team, oneself, and one fan base. And for Andrew Bynum, while injuries have certainly played a significant factor in his prolonged development, one must wonder about his level of dedication, drive, and will to succeed based off of his history, both on and off the court. There's no denying the fact that Andrew Bynum is still, when healthy, one of the most productive, talented, and promising stars that the NBA has to showcase. But in the case of the Philadelphia 76ers, they must be scratching their heads, asking themselves if he'll ever flourish as a member of their team. Bynum has certainly kept the training staff and doctors in Philly awfully busy because of his litany of injuries. So a trade that started off with so much promise and potential for the rabid fans of Philly must feel like an eternity of regret because of the lack of return they've received on Bynum's potential manning the middle for one of the most storied and respected franchises in all of the NBA. This upcoming summer will be a critical one for the Sixers to endure and execute. They must come up with a plan that considers Bynum's long-term health, his ability to be productive, and the amount of mileage they can put on those knees without him breaking down. Bynum's future in the NBA remains in limbo and remains an unanswered question that we'll all be waiting for the answer to with increased intrigue and anticipation. My friends, Andrew Bynum, when healthy, has the potential to be one of the budding superstars for the Philadelphia 76ers, a young, promising, and upcoming team which has hit a bump in the road due to the fact that they based their entire centerpiece of a team under the health and wellness of Bynum. When you assess the situation, the Sixers are left in an awfully interesting position with no easy answers. They have to now weigh the risk versus the reward and see if the agony of wondering if Bynum can ever stay healthy and complete another full season in the league is worth rolling the dice and locking him up to a long-term deal. The best thing Bynum can do now is get healthy and prove that he can still be a viable asset on an NBA roster moving forward. Because the NBA is a bottom-line business. Because teams, fans, and other organizations alike are only interested in the mantra of what have you done for me lately? And the answer for Bynum is not that much. So now he has to fast-track himself on the road to recovery in hopes of rebuilding his career, his physical stature, and his image. Kevin McShann, Sports Beat, reports.